Hey everyone, welcome back to the video. Today we have an interesting one for you. My wife Emily, who is a human physical therapist, she's also a horse physical therapist, which is called an equine rehab practitioner, and she's certified in the Franklin method as well, being a certified bat. And today she's going to be talking to you guys about how to ride and sit the canter better. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Hey guys, I'm Emily, so I'm here to talk to you about the biomechanics of riding canter better. So there's a few things that we can do, not even at the canter, to help improve our mechanics of riding the canter so that we can be the best riders we can for when we ask for those flying lead changes. So as a physical therapist, pretty much no matter what kind of patient I see, I'm always assessing their core strength. And that's super, super, super important for riders, that we have nice, strong, but supple, movable core. We have to be able to move with the horse and kind of flow with their energy, but not brace against them and be squeezing so hard in our core that we create negative energy. So in order to kind of turn up the volume on our core muscles that are innately always on to some degree, what I want you guys to think about is doing the following. I want you to think about that there's a string attached to the inside of your belly button, like on the inside, and there's somebody standing behind me, move his head, kind of slowly kind of reeling that string in. So essentially what it is pulling my belly button in closer to my spine. And it's not a big motion. It's not a kind of suck it in, hold your breath kind of motion. It's really subtle. So I'm doing it right now. And I can feel all of my lower abdominals turn on, right? Not these six-pack ab muscles up here, but all these lower abdominals that we need to stabilize our pelvis. So that's step one of turning on your core.
If you want to see more videos featuring Emily, as well as more content from myself, you can join our Patreon page. It's only $10 a month. It includes video coaching, questions and answers, monthly giveaway. You guys are going to love it. I don't know why you're not on there already. Join it, $10 a month. We'll see you guys there. I'll leave a link in the description. Now back to Emily.
Now step two is to do a pelvic floor contraction, or kind of lifting your whole pelvic floor and engaging all of those muscles underneath, because the pelvic floor is actually part of your core. And a lot of times we don't think about that. We just exercise our front muscles and our back muscles, but we need to be thinking about engaging our pelvic floor. And it's not a really strong contraction like I'm trying not to pee my pants. It's just really subtle to kind of lift up and create some space and support for the horse's back. Do you see, even when I did it, that his head dropped and his back came up a little bit? Maybe you couldn't see it, but I could feel it. So that was sort of my invitation for the horse's back to come up, doing step one and step two together. Now, when you put those two steps together, I'm sure some of you feel something in your low back turn on. Those are muscles called your multifidi. And those muscles, they don't just turn on unless you do step one and step two together. So when we do that in conjunction, we've now activated our core. The top of our core is our diaphragm, our breathing muscle. So just by making sure we're breathing and not holding our breath, we're getting nice core activation. So I'm doing it right now as I'm talking to you. You can see I'm not out of breath. I'm not holding my breath. It's just really kind of turning up your awareness to all of those muscles. So I challenge you then to try that at a walk and a trot and a canter, okay? While I'm still standing still here, let me talk about the next piece of the puzzle for riding canter better. And that's being able to move your pelvis independent of the rest of your body, okay? Notice when I move my pelvis in the saddle, my shoulders don't move, my legs don't move, right? When I see people doing this who haven't really learned how to separate their pelvis from their body, I see this. Am I doing it? See how my whole upper body and even my leg is starting to move with my pelvis. So I challenge you to say, can I move my pelvis forward and backward, side to side, without letting the rest of my body go with? Does that make sense? Because when we think about canter, it's funny, I kind of call it the butt slap canter. Has anybody ever seen that? You know, when you're cantering and you see this kind of motion? in the canter where we get kind of airborne for a second and then we land back on our horse's back. That's somebody who's locked up in their pelvis at the canter. So what we have to be able to do, and I'm going to stand up to show you this, is almost be able to move our pelvis in a circular manner to absorb the 3-beat motion of the canter. So what we need to think about, an analogy that I like, is that there's a circle right here, okay? And so if I'm going to go off on the left lead canter, my pelvis is kind of, and we think about the circle having a top point, a bottom point, and 2 sides, right? So I'm going to be in that backwards takeoff motion of that canter. My pelvis is going to be on this back half of the circle. Then it's going to drop down to the lower point. It's going to roll forward to this midpoint. And then I'm not actually going to go airborne, but I'm going to show you it because I'm going to swoop past up the top point and land back on my circle. So it becomes this circular motion, but all while sitting in the saddle. So you'll see that as I kind of demonstrate that for you. But first, try just riding at a walk. Can you separate your pelvis from the rest of your body? Then, can you hold yourself up and find that circular scooping motion of your pelvis? Okay? Lastly, you have to have loose legs. You can't have legs that are gripping your horse, right? We can't be so gripped with our legs that we can't give clear aids to our horse. So the other exercise I want you guys to think about when you're riding walk, trot, and canter to practice all this is an opening sensation of the inner thigh. Okay? So I'm not actually lifting my legs off the horse or lifting my thighs. You see what that does to my lower leg? Turns my toes out and my heels in. It's just the sensation of, I can't squeeze here. Okay, I gotta open. It's an opening feeling and it's an invitation for the horse to come through the upper leg. Okay? So let's get into some demonstration for you. All right, guys, so as I'm walking around right now, I'm doing those first couple of exercises that we talked about. I'm thinking about gently pulling my belly button in towards my spine. I'm thinking about activating my pelvic floor. And the other thing I'm thinking about is an opening sensation of my thighs, okay? Not gripping with my knees, not gripping with my inner thigh, just kind of a nice opening sensation and letting my leg fall heavy. And now this doesn't matter if you're an English rider or a Western rider. It should be the same in any discipline, that we have legs that aren't squeezing on our horse. Now, can you guys appreciate too, as I'm walking around, that my pelvis is moving? I'm gonna lock it up right now for you. No motion. You can see my horse get a little tight and his tempo change when I lock up, and now I released and I'm flowing with my horse again, letting my pelvis move but not letting my shoulders or my legs move. My pelvis is separate from the rest of my body. All right, so I feel like I've taken all those good pieces together and we're going to move into the canter, and I'm going to show you that kind of cyclical motion, that circle scooping motion that we need of the pelvis. So as I'm going around right now, you can see that my pelvis is really scooping and swooping up past the top of the circle, but I never come airborne out of the tack. Can you guys appreciate that nothing else on me, relatively speaking, is really moving? Just my pelvis is scooping underneath my steady shoulders and my steady leg. Now I'm also thinking about keeping my thighs open so that my horse can come through nicely. Good. So let me show you bad canter now. Let me lock up in my pelvis. You can clearly see the butt slap canter, I call it, right? My shoulders go up and down. My horse definitely is not really liking it, and I can feel his back drop, okay? So let's switch back into our scooping motion of the pelvis. Asking the pelvis to keep moving as we're cantering. So I challenge you guys to work 5 to 10 minutes of every ride on your biomechanics, okay? In order to have suppleness and good energy flow and harmony with your horse, in order to ask for some of those harder maneuvers, like a flying lead change, leg yields, half pass, whatever it is, a spin. We have to move with our horse instead of against our horse. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Happy to help or clarify things. Thanks.